Hello boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, this is Defub21. This is a reaction trailer I'm doing here to a new trailer for Just Cause 3. We're going to look at the trailer and then I shall comment on it. Let's see how it goes.
Peggy 18. Square Enix presents an Avalanche Studios production. Just Cause 3. Just Cause 3 is a huge open-world game with over 400 square miles of complete freedom from sky to seabed. With a large arsenal of weaponry, gadgets, and vehicles, prepare to unleash chaos in the most creative and explosive ways you can imagine. Rico Rodriguez returns to his mother's homeland, the beautiful Mediterranean island of Medici, to liberate it from the brutal dictatorship of General Di Ravello. Obsessed with power, Di Ravello rules Medici with an iron grip, suppressing his citizens, building huge military structures, and leading a strong defense force. But why does this island republic need such a large military? Di Ravello has his eyes on much bigger things than just Medici. He sees global domination as his ultimate conquest. Rico, driven by the desire to return Medici to its once beautiful and peaceful past, goes about bringing down Di Ravello's armies and military bases by any means possible. Rico's tools of the trade include an updated grapple hook, which can be used anywhere in the world, to scale great heights, as a weapon, or for moments of awesome stunt action. Now players can deploy multiple grapple tethers, enabling Rico to chain together incredible moments of chaos and destruction. Combined with a new manual retract function, the grapple becomes even more powerful and versatile. Slingshot vehicles into checkpoints, attach soldiers to exploding fuel tanks, smash helicopters into the ground. You can also hook onto objects and tear them apart, and even construct wrecking balls. The possibilities are endless. The parachute is now a far more stable platform for combat, helping Rico strike his enemies with great precision, using one- or two-handed weapons. This allows the combination between the grapple and parachute to be a highly effective combat force, something that no other game can do. On top of this, there's the all-new wingsuit, which allows for total freedom of the skies and completes Rico's aerial abilities. Rico also carries a gun rack of machine guns, rifles, handguns, grenades, rocket launchers, and unlimited C4, creating spectacular kills and awesome explosions. Medici is filled with over 80 land, sea, and air vehicles, from sports cars to jet planes, via monster trucks and tractors, each one modeled in incredible detail. Vehicles are a complex set of hinged parts, crumple zones, and explosive fuel tanks. Buildings, bases, and gas stations all blow up in unique physics-based chains of destruction for amazing moments of unpredictable chaos. All this comes together in Just Cause 3's incredible missions, where you tear down the General's bases of power, liberate towns in the open world, and gain access to new vehicles, weapons, and rebel facilities as you progress.
Di Ravello knows where you are, and he's sending a big old army to kill you.
Additionally, the world is packed full of collectibles and challenges to discover, all of which are tracked online for high-score bragging rights. These include races, scrapyard scrambles, classic gun ranges, wingsuit courses, crash the bomb, and destruction frenzies. Complete them to unlock new mods that upgrade Rico's explosive capabilities and vehicles. giving players endless ways to cause epic action, destruction, and chaos across 400 square miles of beautiful Mediterranean paradise. Just Cause 3 revolutionizes the open world genre, one massive explosion at a time. Square Enix and Avalanche Studios will set the world on fire December 1st.
Let's turn off the sound there and have it play again. More of the same, in other words. It's been this way since the first game with the first Just Cause, where they've built upon, being able to jump from one vehicle to another, being able to use the grappling hook, and particularly making the grappling hook more and more versatile. But the kind of my experience with the first game and the second one was, both of which, to be clear, I bought on the cheap, I didn't buy them new, was that, it got tiresome quite quickly. There's not much else. If they've improved the actual shooting, which they probably have, which they have done in the previous two games, it still wasn't great in 2. But there's just, you can make a world as big as you want if there's not much to do in it, or not on a per square mile basis. It's you can make it, as I said, as big as you want, but if it's not an entertaining world, if you don't have much to do, or if the primary, if you like blowing up lots of buildings and all this destruction stuff, that's fine, very entertaining even. But when there's nothing else, they don't talk about in the trailer about more advanced or better missions. They don't talk about any other gameplay or elements or any other elements to it that they've added to it. I probably would consider, Just Cause. It's one of the number of sandbox games has been going up, open world sandbox games. There was a while when the number where it was just Grand Theft Auto and the Red Dead and other games made by Rockstar, and the Saints Row series, but more and more of them have been added of late to this kind of game. You've got the Elder Scrolls games and Fallout 3, or Fallout games is another example of open world games, but this kind of third person kind of action shooter. For a while it was just GTA and the Rockstar open world games and Saints Row, and now this. But of those three, I've considered certainly on my experience, the first two, this to be the weakest of them. You make big explosions and lots of destruction and all the rest, but if you're piling that into a game, it's only going to be special and entertaining for so long if there's not more different things to do. And I always kind of found the kind of single player story was kind of very kind of generic, and it seems to be in the same situation here as well. Another stereotypical Latin American dictator who literally, of course, they don't exist anymore. But that's not necessarily a problem. But it's just, well, technically Cuba, but it's just not. It looks great. It looks, the first game looked great. The first game looked fantastic when it came out, and again, the second game was good looking too. But I'm not really sure if it's going to be, interesting enough to warrant purchase. I'll wait till I see reviews. There's no multiplayer in it, which is kind of shocking, because one of the big things that seems to have kept 2 demand for 2 up, particularly in the PC space. Well, in the PC space has been the multiplayer mod. We could up to 20 players plus on multiplayer, and considering the size of the maps and all the destructibility and stuff in vehicles, that is potential for lots of very entertaining mayhem. But apparently there's no multiplayer mode in this game out of the box. I wonder if this will be another one of the Western-made games published by Square Enix / Ubisoft, where Square Enix is unhappy with the game sales, even if it sells 3 or 4 million units, which I think is the kind of numbers. Maybe they sell 4 or 5. I can't remember the exact number they sold with the Tomb Raider game, and that apparently wasn't enough. for the leadership in Japan. Yeah, I mean, again, it looks, it's all typical, video game trailers these days. Very cinematic, in this case, lots of explosions. But for my mind, the kind of destructibility stuff, yeah, I mean, like the explosion, particularly in the second game, that really got that down. And, be logical and kind of common sense to build upon the game's strengths, or the series' strengths. You want to add other stuff too, and I don't really think this does it. Certainly the trailer doesn't imply it. This will be very much a wait and see, and considering it's coming out in December, I'll have gotten Fallout 4 by then. So, who knows if or when I'll get around to playing it, or maybe I'll get it while it's on sale or something like that. But yeah, same old, fictional Latin American country, blue skies, blue oceans, lots of explosions, but it's not. I mean, what they could do to fix it, more world building, perhaps a better single player campaign, continue to improve the actual shooting element of it, which I think was somewhat weak certainly in the first game, probably the second game too, by the standards at the time. There's not much more I can say about it. It looks very good, but the trailer, well, as a trailer, but again, it doesn't really increase my interest based on my experience of the two previous games. But you never know. Again, this is turning out to be kind of something of a hard time to come out for this game to come out in, because in December, as I said, Fallout 4 will be out. So a lot of kind of really hardcore gamers will have bought that and be entertaining themselves with that. You've got Assassin's Creed, which even though, yes, I mean, as I've said before, it's gotten a bit monotonous, and I'm very much suffering from fatigue with that game. I have Black Flag. I got it at launch of the Xbox One because the best reviewed launch game for the Xbox One, or one of the best reviewed launch games for the Xbox One. But I ended up not really playing it that much at all because it was just the same thing. I'm just, it's Assassin's Creed. I was sick of it. But I would still, even though I'm seriously kind of sick of Assassin's Creed, I would still have more interest in the Assassin's Creed Unity coming or not Unity, Syndicate, that's it, that they've got coming this year, than I would with this. And that's after, playing so many Assassin's Creed games and getting somewhat tired of it. But, again, you never know. I'll be pleasantly surprised. But really, if I were making this game, yeah, I'm going to talk about improvements to the game strengths, the explosions, and all the rest, and destructibility. But I'd also want to be, if there is, new stuff in there to diversify gameplay, I'd talk about that, like improved shooting, side quests, single player campaign or in greater detail, stuff like that. And again, it's the same thing, just explosion. And that's all very well and good, but if you're talking about a game that might take 20 plus hours to complete, even if you just stick to the single player campaign, explosions it's like some Michael Bay movies, you put too many explosions in, the first one or two look fantastic and you're all wow, but by the 10th or the 20th you're really kind of beginning to lose interest. I could probably yammer on this for a while, but I think I best end this video here. Yeah, it's more of the same. If you like the same, fine. If you like it, but you think it's not enough for an entire game to be based around, then until either other trailers come out that emphasize other parts of the game or new areas of the game have been improved in other areas, or until you see the reviews, I'd be staying skeptical for the very, at the very least. I certainly won't be pre-ordering it, and I certainly won't be buying it at launch. This is Defub21. If you enjoyed this video, I shall leave a link to subscribe to my channel. Please do so, and please like this video as well. And I'll see you soon with more content. Toodaloo.